Life is too short to have boring hair. You want another one? My mood depends on how good my hair looks. Let's close it out with the final one. If my hair looks good, I can deal with anything. Unknown authors. Welcome to Living at Your Finest podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Babs. I'm a triple board certified family, obesity, and lifestyle medicine physician, and I am the founder of Living at Your Finest Wellness, a holistic direct primary care practice. Did you know that 80% of lifestyle-related chronic diseases within our communities are preventable, with poor diet being the primary culprit? Now, contrary to what we thought, that it was our unfortunate genes, the good news is that we can make changes together to improve our health and quality of life. So that's what this podcast is all about. The Living at Your Finest podcast is devoted to helping families to live at their finest well-being using a holistic approach with a healthy lifestyle to nourish and flourish as a whole, vibrant, and healthy champion. So join me and my guests as we share transformational and sustainable skill sets from our health and wellness journey to support you and your families in achieving optimal well-being. Ready to live at your finest? Well, let's get to it. Hello, health champions. Welcome to Living at Your Finest podcast. It's so good to be here. So good to be with you. Thanks for showing up once again. I am so thrilled that I get the chance to speak with a dermatologist who's been in dermatology for over 12 years. But before I introduce him, I just want to find out how you're doing. We're in the latter part of the year. How are things going? Back to school with your kids yet? Getting ready once we enter August. It's downhill. It's like Thanksgiving, all the things begin to happen around now. But I just want to check in on you and make sure that you're doing well. Thank you for being part of our community. So today we are going to be talking about alopecia. Not many people are fond of that word. I know I've struggled with my own hair, genetics, all the things, stress. But we have an expert in our midst today. He is going to be talking about just all the different treatment options, the different types of alopecia. So without further ado, let me introduce you to Dr. Lucas Fustinoni. I want to make sure I pronounce it well. So he is a dermatologist of over 12 years. He has his own practice and is doing great work. He's a public speaker. He's an educator. He travels around the world teaching people how to care for their skin and their hair most specifically. So thank you. Welcome to the Living at Your Finest podcast show, Dr. Lucas.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Bello, to the invitation to be here. It's a big pleasure for me to share my knowledge and my history of baldness that I'm going to tell to everybody here. And I think it's a very common problem. And I see there are a lot of people that don't do a right treatment. And it's very interesting because alopecia hair loss can be a cause of other disease. So when we treat our hair, we are treating not just the hair, but we're treating our whole body. And I think it's very interesting what the way you treat your patients with lifestyle medicine. I think is the same way that I think it's very nice here.
Yes, very good. Well, thank you. Thank you for agreeing to come on the podcast with me. So we want to just learn a little bit more about where that journey began. You said something briefly about the baldness, and then so just share with the audience, how did that passion for hair come about?
Yeah, I started 12 years ago studying the hair field, and back at that time, it was very rare to find a center to learn more. And it's funny because I started studying this kind of problem because I was very bald. Everybody of my family was very bald. You can see the photo?
Yes, I can see it.
Yeah.
Yes.
So who is watching, the people that are watching us now, these are my photo around 12 years ago. And then I started to lose my hair and then I started doing my research to know more about this kind of problem. So I went to Italy, to Japan, to here USA, looking for the best treatments. And this, I improved a lot my own case and I started sharing some treatments on YouTube. And a lot of people from around the world started watching my videos. And today we have over 3 million subscribers on YouTube. So it's very nice to share this knowledge with everybody.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Look at that. So you left Brazil to go and learn about how to cure the baldness. Wow, that is fascinating that you took. Now, how long did it take to, just learn this treatment? What was it like a year, 6 months? And when did you start using it for yourself and see improvement?
Yeah, everything that I learned that was new, I tried myself first, and it took around 2 years to back my hair grow again.
Yeah.
And I started doing this treatment with the patient, and it was very satisfied with the results. So I created a line of products that we will sell now in Brazil, and I probably will start selling the next year here in USA. So this way we can reach more persons that suffer from alopecia because even today there's a lot of few doctors that are specialized just in alopecia. Like in here in USA, there's like 5 doctors that are member of the European Rare Research Center. That's one of the most important research groups in the world. So I think it's very nice to share more knowledge about that because there are a lot of several diseases of genetic alopecia and the autoimmune disease that we can treat with these treatments.
Yes, yes, that's good to hear that in the US we have just five. I didn't even realize, I mean, I've known of dermatology, but I didn't know that there was a specific field to hair. I think it's called trichology or something. Yeah.
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 So, I in my family, it's funny because my kids make fun of us because I told my son, I said, many years from now, you're going to be bald like your father because it's in our genes, my husband's family, and then in my own family too, our hair. And so, my hair always grows back, but for some reason this year it's just not growing as well. And you said it already, lifestyle makes a big difference. But I did all those things and my hair was just taking so long. So I was getting really worried. They're different, treatments. So I did go see a dermatologist, but we want to hear from you. What are the different types of alopecia? Because some people, I've heard there's alopecia, agritans, they're different types. So can you kind of give the audience, in case they're wondering, what kind did you have? How do you even know the different types of alopecia? And how do you determine what your treatment is going to be?
Yeah, that's very interesting because a lot of people think that hair loss is caused by just one problem, but the hair loss is just like a sign that a lot of things can be happening in the personal health. And the alopecia is a word that means hair loss. And inside the alopecia, we have two very big different groups. The first one is a cicatricial alopecia and no scary, no cicatricial alopecia. When the cicatricial alopecia, we have like the autoimmune disease like lichen planus pilaris, alopecia areata. That's the kind of the lesion that really kills the follicle and we can grow anymore. So this is the most dangerous kinds. The other kinds are like non-cicatricial, non-scary. So we have like androgenetic alopecia. That's it's called like a popular name is the baldness, and we have other problems like telogenous effluvium. That's the hair loss caused by lack of vitamins. So this is the two different groups. But normally people see the hair falling and thinking just one problem. But we have I would say like 1,000 of problems can cause a hair loss. And
Yeah.
to discover the most important step is blood tests, and we do a test with a microscope that we can have some signs of disease in the scalp.
Yeah, that is very in-depth. Thank you for sharing the two different categories because medical school, they taught us alopecia, agritans, but now you've broken it into, well, there's that one and then the baldness. You really
Yeah.
need to get to the root cause. And certainly, I know for me, when my hair wasn't growing back, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is not me living at my finest. I cannot have bald spots in my head. They
Yeah.
did some blood work. They wanted to make sure there wasn't autoimmune, it wasn't iron deficiency, it wasn't vitamin D. They did all the blood work. So for our listeners, you want to know if there's any issue with your hair, make sure you go to the right doctor. Certainly, maybe fly to Brazil and go see Dr. Lucas there. But you want to make sure that the root cause of the issue. Now, what I find, Dr. Lucas, is that there's so many treatment options and it costs a lot of money. I mean, there's just so much money. If I'm in several groups, if somebody just says, oh, what can I do for my hair loss? There's so many products out there. Can you please share with us what you do? What is your treatment program like? And
Mhm.
what is the research behind it? What is the most common recommended thing to do? We would like to hear that from you.
Yeah, this this problem of the cost of treatment is some very common everywhere because unfortunately there are a lot of people that don't understand so much of the problem and charge a lot for the patient. And a lot of patients spend a lot of money and didn't get a solution for the problem. So I think the most important step is to do the blood test to check all the levels of vitamin B12, iron, ferritin, vitamin
Mm-hmm.
D, zinc, copper. There's a lot of vitamins that are very important to make the hair grow. I would say this is the first step because it's normally we see a lot of patients that take like just regular vitamins they buy online or they buy
Yeah, the
on Amazon.
biotin and all of that.
Yeah, and the vitamin is not specific for the case. Like some vitamins that we see on internet, they contain like iron, but the amount of iron is so small that they don't replenish what they really needed. So I think the blood test is the first step. And a very nice treatment that we have today, it's called a growth factor. It's like some kind of injections. It's like an evolution of the PRP, the
Okay.
platelet plasma. And we have some great results with that. I'm gonna show you some photos that I presented in Congress.
Okay.
And it's nice that it's not a so expensive treatment. Like each session costs a lot around the $100, and we can have a very good result. This was
Okay.
the case that I presented in the International Congress in Australia, in Melbourne, and this patient he treated for 9 months with this kind of treatment, phytotherapy and growth factors, the combination of the two treatments. That's
Okay.
very important. Normally, the patient do just one treatment, and normally we have to do more treatment with vitamins, injections, and we can have
Nice.
some good results like this. So this is, I think, is the future of the hair treatment, doing a specific treatment for each patient, and these
Yeah.
injections. That's evolution of the PRP.
Thank you so much for joining me on this week's episode. My goal on this podcast is to empower, educate, and encourage you to take actionable steps to triumph at living at your finest, body, mind, and spirit. Of note, the information provided here is for educational purposes only and does not substitute as medical advice. Please discuss your healthcare needs with your licensed medical professional. If you are in need of a compassionate and comprehensive holistic physician or know someone who is, please reach out through my website, livewellness.com, for a meet and greet. It will be my honor to talk to you. Are we connected on social media yet? I share more in-depth content on best practices to ensure that you live at your finest daily. So please join me on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube at Living at Your Finest Wellness, where we can learn together and stay connected. Lastly, please subscribe to iTunes if you have not done so already and share the podcast within your circle of influence. An extra step? Leave a review and let me know what topics or discussions you would like to hear more of. Thanks in advance. It is always a thing of joy to hear from you. Now, let's get back to today's episode. Very good. So you said something that is personalized too, right? So it's not one size fit all for everybody, right?
Yeah,
Okay, so
exactly.
that's good. Now, the phototherapy, what does that look like? Because the growth factor is an injection. Is the
Yeah,
phototherapy also an injection, or how is the phototherapy? How do you do the phototherapy?
the phototherapy is some kind of lights that we can use. Yeah, there's some kind of laser that make a specific size of the wavelength to make the hair grow.
You
It's
stimulate it.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. Normally, the red LED is the most specific with wavelength of around 400 nanometers that can improve the mitochondria of the hair follicle to grow. So it helps a lot. So another very interesting thing that the patient can do, and it can use like a helmet, watching TV at home or using the computer. So it's a very easy treatment that the patient can do almost anywhere and is
Okay.
are available today.
Okay, okay, that's great. So with the combination, that's usually what stimulates the hair growth. But would this only be an option for people that still have follicles, like people that have damaged their follicles, that would that be still a treatment option for them?
Yeah, that's interesting because some case we think there's no more follicles, like this case I'm gonna show here.
Mhm.
And even with that, we can do a treatment to make the hair grow because the follicle can survive around 1 year with no treatment. Like in this case, this
Oh,
60 years old woman, she had a huge patch of alopecia here.
yeah.
And after the 9 months of treatment, we could regrow her hair because the
Okay.
hair follicle is still alive. So during the
Okay.
treatment, we could regrow that. But it's a
Okay.
to know how when we can make it to regrow again.
Okay, okay. So even if it doesn't look like, even if it looks like it's dead, you can still make magic in a year of that thing. Okay. And it can
Yeah,
still, so they still hope. But is
yeah.
there anybody that you just cannot do anything for them? Is there anyone at all in your experience, your, 12 years of experience? Is there anyone that you can just say, like, let me give my husband as an example. He's so used to having his head being bald that he's like, yeah, I'm so used to it. Don't even worry. Is there anybody that you would say that, yeah, I'm sorry, we can't help you? Is there anyone that you would say you can't help?
Yeah, unfortunately, there are some cases that the patient takes a lot of time to seek a right treatment, or the other doctors do not the right treatment for the patient, and unfortunately,
Mm,
the follicle die, and we can't do
you can't
anything.
do anything.
Yeah, we have
Okay.
to make indication of wigs or other kinds of.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
but in some
Okay.
cases, unfortunately, we can rego that.
Yeah, but I like that you have such great success, right? I've seen your pictures, I've seen the work that you do. So, I mean, 90% or 99% of the time, you're able to help the patient. So,
Yeah.
can you share with us what that, so let's say somebody hears you today and they say they want to, get some treatment from you. What does that look like? From what I recall you telling me, it's usually like 9 months and injections. What other things will you tell them with their lifestyle? Because I'm really big on lifestyle. So tell us how you would approach that with a brand new person that is interested. They hear you, they want to be your patient. What would that look like?
Yeah, that's very interesting because there's no just one medicine, one medication that the patient gonna take and they make the hair grow again. So I would say the lifestyle changes are the most important and the most related of the stress. Like 2 years ago, it was discovered that our hair follicle has a cortisol gland. In the past, we thought that the cortisol was made just in adrenal glands, and now
Yeah.
we know they're very tiny cortisol gland in every hair follicle. And when the patient is stressed, so they produce a little bit of cortisol, and when this stress goes very high, it produces much more cortisol, causing shedding and hair loss. So I would say the stress management is the most important with respiration technique. Like you tell your patient, that's very nice. Improve the sleep hygiene. I think it's very good too. So I would say the most problem is stress. Like and this get worse when the patient suffer from autoimmune disease like alopecia areata, like implantus pilaris. So it's crazy how they have some triggers like a divorce, or when the patient loses the job, they lose a lot of hair. So I could say for sure that stress is the most related problem with hair loss.
Yeah. So that means everything, the lifestyle habits and behaviors have to be optimal to be able to
Mhm.
support the treatment that they will be getting
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
an expert like you. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
that's very
Mhm.
good. I know for sure that there was a year when I was very stressed and my hair was just falling out. So I didn't know that we have cortisol in the hair
Yeah.
follicle. So that's good to hear. Well,
Yeah.
thank you so much for sharing all about that. Certainly, it's good to know that we have experts like you in the field, that there's hope. There's hope for hair growth. Well, now we want to, get to know you as an individual.
Wow.
So this is the part where I'm going to ask you questions about you. Are you ready for? Okay.
Yeah.
So, how do you live at your finest? The name of this podcast is Living at Your Finest. So, tell us one or two things that you do to help you live at your finest.
Nice. I think one thing that I do every day, several times a day, that helped me a lot to live more healthy, more happy, is to be thankful for everything. Thank you for the life, for our health, for our friends, family. I
Mhm.
think when we are thankful for everything, you attract much more of this thing for that.
Yes. Yes.
I pray to God several times a day, saying thank you for everything in my life. So I think it's a very good emotion to have in our mind the whole day. I think
Yeah, I
that's
agree
very
with you.
important.
Amen. Amen to that. Being in a
Yeah.
state of gratitude gratitude, it just changes the wavelength in your mind. Even when things are really going horrible, you give a state of thanks. So I'm really happy that we have that similarity. So that's fantastic. All right, tell us something that people don't know about you, because I know you have a beautiful wife. I know that you're very smart and very business savvy. You're a dermatologist, but something I don't know about you, or maybe people might not know about you.
Yeah, normally the people see me on internet speaking in Portuguese or English or doing videos on these two language, but few persons know that I study in France and Italy, so I can speak English, Italian, French, Spanish, and Portuguese. So I'm able to speak in all these language, and I was
Multiple
learning
languages.
Mandarin. Yeah, I was learning Chinese, and it was very
Oh,
nice to learn one
oh
more.
wow. So so you can speak like 6 or 7 languages? Do you not get like mixed up with all the languages? You
The,
know?
the the problem for me is Spanish and Italian. If I go to Italy, stay some time in Italy, I just can speak Italian, and it's very hard to remember Spanish. And when I go to like Mexico, other countries I speak Spanish, it's hard to remember Italian. So I have to take a time to remember all the words.
To adjust your
Yeah.
brain. Okay. Well, that's fantastic. Now, let me ask you one last question. If you were not a doctor, what other field would you have done?
Yeah, that's a good question because before to be a doctor, I specialize in maintenance of computers and the informatics because my dad worked with that in Brazil. So I really like informatics and record videos, photographer, everything about technology is something that I really like. And that's helped me a lot to make the YouTube channel because
Mhm.
I really like to use computers, to use the cameras, and I put all together with the medical information to create the YouTube channel. So some way it
Very
helped me a lot with that
Oh,
too.
that's good. Very good. Well, thank you so much for just sharing, just your experience and spending time with me today. I want to give you an opportunity to share with our listeners and our viewers where they can follow you. You have like over 3,000 or how many? Tell people where they can find you on YouTube and Instagram, and yeah, just tell us. And once you're done with that, just let us know what are your parting words, if you have any last parting words.
Yeah, thank you very much for this space, Dr. I think it's very nice to share knowledge. And who wants to know more about hair loss, hair disorders, can have my YouTube channels. This Dr. Lucas Fustinoni, Instagram the same, Dr. Lucas Fustinoni. And I see patients all over the world for more than 26 countries that we ask for a lot of blood tests. We send everything that the patient needs to their home. So it's very easy to make the treatment and it really works very good. So that people can have more information about that on my social media.
Awesome. Very good. Well, thank you. Any parting words, or do you have anything you want to say to the listeners, or any words of encouragement?
Yeah, I will say to every patient that suffer from hair loss to keep looking for more information, try to take care of their health because a lot of times the hair loss is just a problem of the other problems of the health. So it's very important to try to solve that and you improve a lot your health. So that I would say to everyone that suffer from for this kind of a disease.
All right, very good. So that means there's hope. There's hope. Well, to our listeners, thank you also very much for just hanging around with us to the very end. Thank you, Dr. Lucas, again for taking time to share your expertise. And so you've all heard it. Lifestyle is all about nutrition, physical activity, stress management, sleep, avoidance of substances, and social connections. And all those things play into our hair. I know our hair is just really like a crown for us. So we definitely want to take care of our overall health so that our hair will not suffer. So if there's one thing that Dr. Lucas has said today, please hold on to it and run with it because you deserve to live at your finest. So until next time, take care and God bless.